Sean, let's start us off with Michigan versus Penn State. Now, I don't know how. It's only Tuesday when we're taping this, and I've managed to do an insane amount of coverage on this game because I did it on Rufino and Joe. I went on a podcast that is hosted by somebody who is a Michigan alum, and then I just guest hosted a Penn State football podcast filling in for somebody. So I've spent way too much time talking about this game already by Tuesday. This one, I still don't have, though, a total pulse on how I think it's going to play out. I think that there are roster advantages for Penn State in the fact that they're at home that's going to play in Penn State's favor. But overall, I just can't see. I cannot see Michigan losing this football game. I know that everything that they've been dealing with, they seem like a program that easily is galvanized when their back is up against the wall and everybody's against them. They did that at the beginning of the season when Harbaugh was suspended. No matter what happens, I think that Michigan is just so fierce up front on both sides of the football that they're going to come out and win this game.
So before the show started, I had a really irritating conversation, and it wasn't with Joe for once. And I feel like I can draw a parallel to the sports world as a host. I feel like we should be able to do that. The conversation was about baked mac and cheese versus Kraft mac and cheese. And I was relayed the information that the Kraft or boxed mac and cheese was better than baked mac and cheese with real cheese and noodles and the breadcrumbs on top, and it's baked, and that's what it's supposed to be. That is the better form of mac and cheese than your Easy Mac, than your Kraft, than your Velveeta's. Michigan is baked mac and cheese. They're always going to be better. Penn State, flashy, does it in a trick. You know, if you need it, it'll hit. It'll be fine for you. But it's going to play out like this. Michigan's going to win. Michigan's going to win by 12, maybe 13. Baked mac and cheese beats boxed mac and cheese by 12 or 13 consistently. If Penn State wanted me to say they were going to give Michigan a challenge, they should have played better against Ohio State. And they didn't. That's what I have to draw upon because that's the only team that they've played. Michigan, and if somebody's going to say, oh, well, this is their first test of the year. True. But they have handled their cupcake schedule with ease. And I feel like they are going to, I don't think they're going to take Penn State lightly, but I feel like they're just going to march up and down the field, and Penn State's offense is going to be stagnant.
That's kind of where I'm at right now with this. That's kind of where I sit, where I see a path. I see a path for Penn State to win the game because J.J. McCarthy has been better this year, but we know that he has those meltdown games in his back pocket. Like he's capable of doing that. And I look at that.
It's somewhere in there. He can fumble around and find it.
I think the difference between him and Kyle McCord is that when Kyle McCord plays bad, he's just like bland white toast. He just doesn't really do anything exciting, but he doesn't really do anything that's like, oh my God, that's terrible. Like he'll just throw the football away and he'll miss a receiver and hold the ball too long. But when J.J. McCarthy has a bad game, he throws multiple picks or a pick six. And it really, and this happened against Purdue, but because Purdue is so weak offensively, it didn't even matter. He'll miss guys like poorly. His placement when he's not in rhythm is bad the entire game. He will be out of rhythm for most of the game because he just can't get back into that normal pace of the game. So that's in his potential here. And I think that if we look at the matchup of if Chop Robinson plays in this game, that defensive front is going to be aggressive, and they're equipped with their secondary with Kalen King, Daquan Hardy, Johnny Dixon. That group is in a position to go one-on-one across the board because Michigan's receivers are good, but they're not scary good. They're not Ohio State good. They can go one-on-one coverage and load the shit out of the box. They can do that. But like what you're talking about here, I think that Michigan, and you're catching Michigan at the worst time. They're pissed off. They're really pissed off. They're clearly mad at everybody in the Big Ten. They are so upset with the way that they're being treated. They're going to try and embarrass anybody that they play, any opportunity that they
Are they distracted, though? That's the big difference.
I don't
I
think
don't
that they
feel like
are,
they
though.
are
They don't
either.
come
I
off as a
don't feel like
team
they are either.
right.
It doesn't feel. It feels like, okay, this would be like if Donnie did something goofy and ended up on the news, right? Like if Donnie went, who was a right hand man, every man for the football program. If you needed bagels, he could get you bagels. If you needed help with the equipment, he could help with the equipment. The Connor Stallion situation for Michigan feels like if Donnie did something goofy or detrimental. Like, okay, that's not great, but it's Donnie. It's not the big man doing it. It's not one of the players that got caught or did something. It's another guy. And I love Donnie, and that's cool, but I don't think the impact of the game, unless we see how much that the signs were helping them, like when we saw the Astros batting averages go down tremendously after they got caught. I don't see that happening with Michigan, though.
Right. Okay, so here's
I
you're
think
talking
their
about
talent can
right now
supersede cheating, if that makes sense, or not even cheating, being aware of
well, well, and
an extra level of preparation.
I think we already have proof that it does supersede cheating, because clearly they haven't been doing it over the past couple of weeks, or they would be stupid to try to after everything that happened. But I tweeted this last night, and I was spending some time breaking down this Michigan defensive front because I was evaluating them. And their whole group is just so violent. Like the whole group. Mason Graham in the interior, Josiah Stewart, Derek Moore on the outside, Chris Jenkins as well.
Jenkins is a beast.
It is.
Are they still doing the lineup like a yard off the ball thing? I have not watched a ton of Michigan because why would I? It's all blowouts. I don't like that, but if they're getting off violent out of that, I can appreciate it.
But they not only have that front, but they also rotate other guys in, which is frightening. But the way that they play, they're fast off the ball, and they're like a group that's just punching the shit out of everyone's chest. They're swimming, they're swiping. It's all clubs and just aggressive moves when you're going up against offensive lines. And I think Penn State's offensive line is good. I think that Olu Fashanu is a really good player, but their guard play and their right tackle, they're fine. I'm not really scared of either of those positions on that Penn State offensive line. So that could be a really long day for Drew Aller, who we saw have problems. They, for some dumb reason, against Ohio State, asked him to throw the ball way too many times. Like we could end up in a game here where they overthink it, they throw the ball way too much, and Drew Aller ends up on his back.
I'm getting a bit of a premonition the more that we talk about this game. You want me to tell you how it's going to go? First quarter is going to be a snoozer. Neither offense does much of anything. Defense is still fresh on both sides. Drew Aller overwhelmed, a couple 3-and-outs. McCarthy, shocking slow start for the Michigan Wolverines. They score 3 points on the final drive of the first quarter. 3-0 going into the second quarter. Penn State might get a touchdown in the second quarter. Michigan definitely does. 1 score game at half. Second half doesn't matter. Michigan's defense gets their legs back under them. Penn State can't recover. Michigan goes on to win by double digits. That's how it's going to go. I hate to spoil it. I wish I could build more intrigue for you, but I'm more concerned in being right. And that it's just how the game is going to go. And the most important of the game of the year, which we have had penciled in since May, and we all knew it was going to be the biggest game, and we just had hope that Penn State was going to do something. That we had hope that Penn State could provide a challenge. We still do a little bit. I still do. It'll make things way more interesting. But the biggest game in the Big Ten is Ohio State, Michigan. We knew it after the season last year. We knew it all off season.
Right.
Week 1, we saw, the teams are back and the uniforms and the stadiums are filled and, there's no more COVID and we're chilling. But the whole time, you're just like, let's get to the third week of November and we get back to the best game of the year and what it's going to be. And that still might be a snoozer. But this game, Penn State, Michigan, unless I'm proven wrong defiantly, and it is a crazy-ass upset or it's a crazy good game, I feel like is going to be pretty sleepy. And it's just going to be another typical Michigan win where they grind you out, their defense is solid, and they're better coached than you, and they make the right decisions.